Let me tell you a story, and it's a chilling one. It's about Nisha, a writer who just loved exploring old ruins, and her boyfriend, Arav, a photographer. For Nisha's birthday, Arav planned this perfect camping trip, but what started out as a romantic getaway, well, it turned into a nightmare that only one of them would come back from. So they're about 2 hours into their trip, and they stumble upon this really unsettling village called Rudirpur. It's only 6 in the evening, but as they drive in, it gets unnaturally dark. The whole place just feels empty, totally devoid of life. And right away, Nisha gets this awful feeling, this deep sense of unease. And you can totally see why she was so disturbed. The village is dead silent, but there's a lit torch outside every single house. And every door is painted this deep, blood-red color with these weird, unsettling mantras scrawled on them in black. Now, you know those symbols are usually for protection, right? To ward off evil? But here, they felt less like a shield and more like a warning. The air was just thick with dread. So Arav, being a photographer, gets out of the car to capture the scene. And out of nowhere, this frantic old woman in a red sari just appears. She grabs him, yells this terrifyingly specific warning at him, and then she vanishes, just like that. Poof, gone into thin air before he could even ask a single question. He's completely shaking up. He turns back to the car, and Nisha's gone. His blood runs cold. He looks out into the distance and he sees her. She's walking away holding the hand of a man dressed as a groom. You can't see the groom's face, it's hidden by one of those traditional saras, and blood is literally dripping from his hand. And all around them are these women in bridal clothes, chanting the same strange mantras he saw on the doors. Arav screams her name, and in that one instant, the whole scene just disappears. Suddenly, Nisha is right there behind him, looking totally normal, asking him what's wrong. She says she just walked over towards that creepy-looking bungalow in the distance to find a washroom. The vision is gone, but the image of that bungalow is now burned into Arav's mind. They try to just shake it all off. They drive on, find a spot by a river, and set up camp. As the bonfire crackles away, the mood finally starts to lighten up a bit. Nisha's smiling, her face glowing in the firelight, and she playfully asks Arav to take some pictures of her. You know, just a moment of normalcy after a completely terrifying night. Of course, Arav's happy to do it. He starts snapping pictures, one, then another. Nisha looks amazing, just beautiful. But that feeling of relief, it completely shatters the second he glances down at his camera screen. The horror from that village, it followed them. And this is where things get truly, truly terrifying, because it's like their realities just split apart. Arav, his face probably white as a sheet, shows the photos to Nisha, but she doesn't see anything wrong. To her, they're just beautiful pictures. She loves them. But on his screen, in every single photo, that ghost groom is there, standing right behind her. And in each shot, he's getting a little bit closer. Later that night, Arav can't sleep. Of course he can't. So he checks his camera again. He scrolls back to the pictures he took back in Rudirpur, and his heart just stops. There, in every single shot, standing silently in front of every single one of those red doors, is the same groom. He wasn't just haunting Nisha. He was a part of the village itself. The next day is just a blur of them trying to act normal. They go trekking, take some photos, do anything to forget. But as evening starts to fall, they see it again from the trail. That same lone bungalow. Only this time, it's not some dark ruin. No, it's all lit up, decorated like a palace, just glowing in the twilight. And despite all their fear, they feel this irresistible pull to go check it out. The front door is wide open, and what they see inside is just baffling. There's a massive royal feast laid out on silver platters, enough food for 100 people, but the hall is completely empty. Not a soul in sight. The air is thick with this sickly sweet smell of dead, decaying flowers. And just as they're thinking, okay, we need to leave, the huge door slams shut behind them. They're trapped. And then the chanting starts up again, echoing from the grand staircase. The groom appears, slowly walking down. This time, Arav sees his face, and it's horrifying. It's half dead. In that exact same moment, Nisha's eyes turn completely white. She just starts walking towards the groom like a puppet on a string. Arav is frozen to the spot, forced to watch as the groom places this withered, dead garland around her neck and leads her through the wedding ceremony. The second the ritual is finished, a final, sorrowful scream echoes through the hall. And just like that, the groom, all the fancy decorations, the whole illusion, and Nisha herself, they all just dissolve into a cloud of smoke. Arav is left all alone, standing in the middle of a cold, dark, ruined bungalow. Frantic and completely broken, Arav runs back to the village. He finds that old woman from before, collapses at her feet, and just begs her to explain what happened. And that's when she finally reveals the terrible history of that place, the evil that lives inside the Bhoot Bangla. The old woman tells him this curse goes way back. Years and years ago, a monstrous landlord lived in that bungalow. On every new moon, he would force a girl from the village to marry him, only to sacrifice her to a demon so he could become immortal. To finally end his terror, the villagers burned him alive inside his own mansion. But his evil spirit never left. It's still trapped there, forced to repeat the ritual every new moon. And then, the old woman delivers the final, devastating blow. Today was the new moon. The spirits had been waiting, and he had chosen Nisha. Her fate was sealed, because as the woman explains, once you become the bungalow's bride, you can never, ever return. Arav is just completely shattered. The perfect birthday trip he had planned for the love of his life turned into this absolute nightmare. And he's crushed by this inescapable, horrible guilt that he was the one who brought her here. He led her directly to the monster that claimed her forever. And this whole thing leaves us with this one haunting question. The camera showed him a truth that was invisible to the naked eye, but did seeing that truth actually seal their fate? If Arav had never looked at those pictures, if he'd never confirmed the ghost's presence, could things have turned out differently? Or was Nisha doomed from the moment they set foot in Rutherpur? It's something we'll just never know.